Oh, hello, crowd. I didn't realize you'd be here that quick. Welcome in. I figured just do some late night, some gaming. Um, I got done at work at like 9. I was like, I just like goofed around a bit. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go to sleep that early. So I might as well do something. So I figured I'll just get in a quick little stream. Uh, so I decided to play some Roadshare because the one thing I've learned from my first playthrough that's much farther ahead, and my streaming playthrough is that yeah, I missed out on some things. I'll probably play for like an hour or two before going to bed. I know my father's gonna be here in the morning to help with the turkey. There's nothing there, so we'll go here. Are there beginner traps? Um, yes and no, I would say. Um, there's definitely some things that like you can kind of like trip yourself a bit earlier. You can trip yourself a bit early, such as like doing certain actions before others, like hitting certain planets before others. So that's what like I'm trying to see here because right away I went to like right to the governor instead of the other places, and two of my allies were like lost most of their servants or such. So like we're here. The first situation went really easily with the navigator. So I think there might be like some things that can like trip you up if you don't like plan things out smartly. That and also didn't realize like, hey, some of the first few trading works differently in this game. You have something called the profit factor. You can redeem anything from those profits at that level. So let's say you have profit factor 12. Anything they have that's like listed 12 or under, you can just be like, that's mine. I can take that. I can buy that. Where I thought it would actually like it would be a one-time purchase, like, oh, that's 10, you're now at 2. And what it means is like, hey, this is your cap. Anything underneath that you can buy. So I missed out on some great gear early on. I also didn't build some characters the right way, and it like some of the current combats in my first playthrough I'm like really struggling. So there's definitely some things that you trip up. So I'm starting to play things out a bit neater with the second playthrough. So far, pretty good. I know some of the stuff that's going to happen. Also, I learned certain things that characters help out in pretty well. Like for example, Cassia, who this character, who's our navigator, she can read emotions, so she can kind of tell when people are lying to us for their teeth or playing nice. Versus someone like Idria, who can get vision, so there she might be like, "Hey, something's about to happen," and you could automatically draw your weapon. You could say, "Okay, I draw my weapon," so you don't get ambushed that first round. Instead, you'd be working on the same first round as the bad guys. So certain characters can help certain combats pretty well. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The lead navigator has left her quarters and currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shutting her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck. So, like, I'm now gonna start to think carefully, like, who the hell do I want to bring with me on each mission?
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
The navigators engrossed in pursuing the destination which appear to have been neglected by their officers, be it because of sloth or dullness of mind. When you walk closer, Cassie looks up at you and start and hides a weathered look behind her book. I like that. Points at the book and Cassie says, "I see you're fond of reading." A great pickup line. Works on everyone. It pleased me to see you adjusting to life aboard the ship. Last, the tale alone is not enough to hold everyone's attention all the time. You know what? It pleases me to see you adjusting to life aboard the ship.
Compared to Urak 5, your ship is a boundless world of unfamiliar hues. And yet, the abundance of bright colors can at times be wearisome on the eyes. The bridge and the decks are so clamorous. In my search for a place of quiet, I was fortunate to come upon this islet of serenity filled with rare tomes and practically devoid of color.
The events that took place on Yorick 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well? Your only attendant is your valet from Yorick 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards? I hope they've had ample time to calm yourself in your powers. The events took place must have shaken you greatly.
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Oidora Echo. Yeah, I like her. She's probably my. Ooh. So far, in my top 3 characters that I've met so far, I really like Jai. She's like kind of like if you took the Esmeralda from the Hunchback of Notre Dame and made her into a space pirate. It's just so great. It's just such a great character. And then Abelard, I just love generally because Abelard, you'd be like, "Hey Abelard." Anytime you walk into a group and someone was like, "Who the hell are you?" You'd be like, "Hey Abelard, tell them who I am," and he'll just list off every title you have, and I just love it. Yeah, your only attendant is your valet from Yorick 5.
No, no. It is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Cassia cringed ever so slightly just as the doorman on her forehead, and awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearances of navigators often become the topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. Is it unsurprising, then, that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks? Point to the book, and Cassia says, "I see you're fond of reading."
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing. Yorick 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Cassia gently brushes dust off the cover with her thin clawed hands, her eyes filled with longing after reminiscing about her lost home. So I see we have to say, I hope they had ample time to converse something in Paris.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting. Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying? You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I. I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
I begin to think, Lady Cassia, that the feelings I have for you are far more complicated than common sympathy. You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and just natural to share them with others. Quite right, so I'd ask that you mind what you say from now on. It's indeed difficult for me to feel empathy for a mutant. However, the crew's well-being hinges on the navigator. I believe this conversation has reached its natural conclusion. Can you just imagine you saying in everyday life, I believe this conversation has reached its natural conclusion, and just walk away? I feel like that'd be such a power move to use on people. Yeah, you have nothing to apologize for.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So, why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
That's because you're wearing armor.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls, and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but... My delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
I would not dare to make fun of a lady's feelings, especially not one who has captivated me since I first set eyes upon her. I'd rather we find amusement elsewhere, perhaps in the privacy of my chambers. What I find childish is your matter address me as if we were a friend, and your mistaken plea that anyone here would be interested in hearing about your emotional turmoil. I understand what you're going through. My own life was turned upside down not too long ago. I'm not in the habit of finding amusement at the expense of my people. Just remember to keep your emotions checked. God, I love how you can just be vicious to people. Be like, just, It is. I'm gonna go with that one.
Words like that, Lord Captain, could easily be misconstrued. You should familiarize yourself with some of the works in your library to learn the appropriate manner of conversing with a lady.
Shrugging the maintain an expression of polite indifference, Cassie covers her with burning face and swiftly exits the room. I love that. Great character. Great moment. Series of gallanting conduct. How to express your feelings to a noble lady. Oh, I have to read this. Amaro who seeks the favor of refined lady is well advised to maintain pointed courtesy and fineness in his every deed. Honorable Amaro will never defile noble lady's ears with crude or indecent words, and neither will he allow himself conduct that could besmirch her honor and dignity. Above all, the Mara should remember that a relationship begins with the right choice of words. Shadow her lady with compliments that will accentuate her finest qualities without putting her in the position of discomfort. A word chosen elegantly and spoken with gentle warmth may bring about a change in the lady's eyes as she looks upon you. Once your interactions has grown more intimate, always be sure to remember the simple rule of etiquette. For example, should the lady drop her handkerchief, the deepest expression of sympathy for her would be to perform the following gesture. Pick up the handkerchief, wait a brief moment, then bring the handkerchief to your lips and touch it lightly before returning it to the lady. This noble gesture will assure the lady of the seriousness of your intentions. Remember that the flower bud of true feeling takes time to blossom. Patience, loyalty, and impeccability in adhering to the decorums of nobility is key to earning the lady's favorable disposition. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Amazing. Would that work on you, Maya? If someone were to, like, kiss the handkerchief before giving it back to you? Or would you be like, why are you getting my handkerchief more wet? They can keep it. True. I believe you can see if, like, at any time what the character feels about you, like in Baldur's Gate. So, like...
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
Tell me about yourself.
I am a part of House Orselio, an ancient dynasty of the Navis nobility. Since time immemorial, our family has served to advance knowledge, pushing at the boundaries of the dark unknown. The Starway Atlas contains 2,843 routes that chart the sectors of the Segmentum Obscurus and reach all the way from the Coronis Expanse to Holy Terra.
That figures identifies so strongly with your house. It must be difficult for you not to be able to lean on your elders. Be my word, I will look after you.
You will? That would be most appreciated, Lord Captain.
So you never lived anywhere other than Uric 5?
Hardly. According to the chronicles of the house, I was born on one of the Orcelio worlds. Oh, what was it? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. My childhood memories are too vague. Sometimes I dream about the colorful birds that built their nests in the garden, or the servants dressed in purple livery, or the blue fog that rolled over the lowlands behind the palace. But everything is covered in a rosy haze. Perhaps it is my imagination, not my memory, that is painting these pictures.
Tell me about your life on the station.
My stay on the station was wholly dedicated to preparing me for my future duty. Astromancy, astrography, numerology, the histories of my house and the Imperium, as well as other disciplines. For many years, dozens of instructors tirelessly prepared me for my destiny. And once a year, Great Regent Alronto would come to the station. He would entrust his beautiful vessel to my command, so that I could master the practical aspects of our art as well.
Did you have friends? Someone you could turn for a simple conversation, not a discussion of yet another lecture?
The Regent gave me a bird from a sunlit planet once. I tried to befriend it and make it sing, but for some reason, it refused, and died soon after. The instructors were too respectful of my duty to my house to waste precious time on idle chatter. Aside from them, there were only servants on the station, and you know they have their vocal cords removed, so they cannot break their vow of silence.
As you know, you make your servants do.
And since the subject has been breached, Lord Captain, why do you not follow this honored tradition? Your decks are so garish. Apologies, I meant noisy. The rabble don't just chatter. Sometimes they shout and even sing. Why do you allow such a lack of restraint? Rogue traders are highborn, are they not?
I love this. You have a point. It's about time we make the decks quieter. I will have the lower rank strip their vocal cords. A ruler cannot name people just because it is powered to do so. On the contrary, it's the duty of every ruler to look after his subjects. You may find it difficult to believe, but the presence of depriving servants of their voice is not particularly widespread outside House of Sorio, or I like the noise people make here. It fills the ship with life. Ooh, yeah, I do like having the ship filled with light.
With life? Ugh, if only you could take my place and watch this kaleidoscope. Every voice is a flash of color. Every conversation a shimmering glow. Every argument is an unstoppable swirl of gaudy splotches.
So for her, people look different. She can see colors around people, so she can literally like read the color of people's emotions. And so imagine being on a ship, a bridge of like 1,000 people and all those like coloring displays. Like it could probably be really wild for her. Your third eye. Do you always conceal it?
The navigator's open eye is baneful to whoever the warp's ruinous shine falls upon, and therefore it is the symbol of our power. We are the guiding stars of humanity, found worthy of an uncommon gift, and one of the duties that we bear is to guard our eye, even from wayward glances that may bear evil. Besides, I am aware that lesser servants of the Imperium may find our appearance repulsive. The Navigator gene twists the features the rabble are used to seeing, and the magnificence of our role cannot be grasped by their feeble minds.
Let's see. You're beautiful, Cassia. Do not let anyone or anything convince you otherwise. Who cares for the opinion of the short-sighted rabble? They can serve us and die for us, and keep their thoughts to themselves. You do not look repulsive, Cassia. Or I cannot blame them. Navigators are mutants. Highborn mutants. Yeah. We'll go with you're beautiful.
Lord Captain, you are overstepping the bounds of propriety.
What does it feel like to guide a vessel for the warp?
It may be difficult to describe. You see, every navigator perceives the warp differently.
Yeah, you can be so
My
vicious.
mentor, Great Regent Auronto, always described his travels through the Immaterium as a journey through a vast wood with countless paths. And I, assisting him in the first voyages, futilely tried to follow his example. But the wood would not reveal itself to me. But everything changed when I found my own key to this mystery. You see, I've always brightened up my rare moments of leisure time by painting. You may recall there was a workshop in my chambers. As soon as I imagined the warp as a blank canvas, an indescribable feeling came over me. I moved the brush, going deeper and deeper into my own painting. Visions were hidden within the vibrant colors of my palette, and something inside me knew which should be brought out and which should be left behind. I woke up several days later, after the voyage was safely complete.
I would love to see the paintings too. I noticed that your love of paintings is reflected in your speech as well. You associate so many images with hues and colors.
The Emperor graced me with a gift. I can see inner life in addition to the mundane. You cannot know that a fruit has rotten from the inside until a blade slices it in two. I can see the rot from far away. It roils like swamp mud, oozing through the bright peel. Anger and boredom, sadness and joy. Everything that people shut away inside themselves is revealed to me like colors on the canvas of my world.
Why don't we talk about something else?
You will hear no objection from me, Lord Captain.
Tell me about the House Osorio.
As the only voice of our family on this vessel, it is an honor. As long as your questions are courteous, I will answer every one of them.
We did pass the check. So, is the Osorio prophecy system named after your ancestor?
You are shrewd indeed. My ancestor charted that route while fleeing the enemies of humanity. They say the Emperor himself was his guide, because the warp expelled their vessel without a single loss. Unfortunately, the lips of those who relate this tale seep with disgusting green hubris. I think Colleen Orselio was simply a skilled navigator.
I think Osorio has a rich history.
Oh, yes. The navigators of the house came to the Coronis Expanse fairly recently, a mere 208 years ago. Before that, our ancestors expanded the borders of humankind's dominion for the glory of the Emperor, blazing trails to different corners of the galaxy.
Who rules the house?
Just as a rogue trader stands at the head of a protectorate, a Novator heads a navigator house. It is the Novator who decides where to look for alliances and which path their bloodline is destined to tread. As for our house, the transfer of power to a successor is currently underway. In the meantime, Great Regent Auronto Orselio is ensuring the stability of the house.
You live in seclusion on a closed station until Felicum is sabotaged. Then you must be the Novator's successor.
So says Regent Auronto. Nothing is decided yet. Some people in the house become enshrouded in rolling grey clouds at the thought of me becoming the Novator. But even more are bound with dull leaden chains. They think I am not ready for such a burden.
With your permission, I'd like to talk about something else.
By all means.
What does your special sight reveal?
Sister Argenta shines like a guiding star, inspiring resolve in those around her, seemingly inexplicably. However, I see a dark and ugly fog billow behind her, contrasting sharply with her shining light. It burdens the Sister of Battle. It drags her down. Yet Argenta herself is hardly aware of it.
there's something, there's a dark past. That's probably like the dark past Argenta has that's like weighing her down.
Seneschal Viserion is among the few whose colors are a pleasure to look at. Whenever the Seneschal speaks, heavenly crystal clarity spreads around him. And whenever he is angered, dark blue clouds condense over him. And in his rare moments of joy, a pure gleam of sunset pink caresses the souls of those near him. Out of your entire retinue, Lord Captain, he is the only one I would trust with my life.
To be fair, our Seneschal is someone who's like very, very loyal to us. He's probably the one person I would trust with my life as well in the group.
Idira's emotions are like a maelstrom, bright, unbridled, enveloping her form like a wondrous kaleidoscope of colors. And as dangerous as a twisting warp storm. The riot of colors hides the truth from my eyes. What exactly is driving this woman? Is it her own will, or is it the Immaterium, Lord Captain?
Let's talk about shall we?
Right here? Are you sure?
It is best for us if we end a relationship. Oof. Oof. Let's discuss other things.
Of course. Let us turn from personal matters to more pressing concerns.
This is where I must beg my leave.
I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
God, that'd be just mean. Alright, and we're continuing on to here. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. It's pending me outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Wersine's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Oh, okay. I wonder what it's about. Thankfully, I do know what it's going to be about because I've seen this event, but it's a very interesting event. I love it. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Ebelard's voice is loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are antics of a highborn brat out in all alarm. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Elbard tries with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sirs, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of allegiance towards a higher ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, which I just did hydrate, so I'll do it again. I will posture check and stretch. Lord Captain, Lieutenant of the event, requesting permission to speak. Event follows silent and then adds rashly on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I listen to what I have to say. Speak, Lieutenant. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I'm not tolerate this conduct on my ship. Abelard, assign Lieutenant to appropriate punishment. Lieutenant, you have 1 minute to state your business. Ooh. Ooh. Do we want to go full strict by the rules? Be like, look, you may say what you say, but you will get a punishment for this? Ooh. We are a commissioner, so we should take it into account because we are someone to by the rules. You know, let's not have a shouting match. We'll do like the even middle ground. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. I thought the drastic times call for drastic measures. Vent exclaims hotly. The matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on the orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of my senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with attention as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, know her to intervene and lets out a skeptical huff. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the action of Sensual Werenstein and intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or massacre on our hands. Veal reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She's clearly been prepping to say them for some time. When she's finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection and making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me. How did this all start? Where does Central Worsening comes into all this? Yeah, there's an insurrection on my ship, and no one saw fit to inform me about it. I'm not deeming a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The Urdex, or so it happens, are in revolt. 37 years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rules across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero somehow survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on the ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than the salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the Malikins directly, he would quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem you'll disturb the rogue trader with. Next, perhaps you ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I already given you the means to resolve the problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, Lordships, sending a hit squad to crush rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did this all start? The situation could blow over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It begins when the Enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who's been killed in a drinking brawl. We reported up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleaning rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between the Enforcers and workers to a head. Where does Central Worsening come into all of this?